Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. First of all, apologies for not being regular. Me and my team members, we were quite occupied with a lot of work and personal commitments. Going forward, we'll definitely try to be regular and also improve the quality of the videos that we upload. So we all know that the global markets is extremely volatile right now because of the geopolitical situation that is going on. Whenever there is a geopolitical tension like this, there will be extreme panic selling in almost all the markets. That's what we are seeing right now. This exactly is the reason why I am making this video. Because when the markets fall, smartest money will start buying. But for retail investors like me and you, we are always in a confused state wherein we don't know where should we park our money, where should we start investing. That's because whatever we touch right now, that can be gold, any sort of stock, it's falling. In such panic scenarios, how we as retail investors need to think and plan on our investments. I guess this, rather than a single video, is going to be a set of videos wherein I'll explain you what are the key things that you need to look at in such cases so that you can plan your investments accordingly. Today we are going to look at this one particular scenario wherein the promoters are starting to enter. These promoters themselves are buying stocks in very large volumes. So we are going to take few stocks as an example and understand what promoters are doing in such scenario of fear. Also, a little disclaimer to the viewers, this is not a buy or sell recommendation. We are just going to analyze what promoters are doing right now. And I'm not a SEBI registered analyst, so please consider your own evaluation before you decide to invest. So let's quickly get into it. So the first stock that we are going to talk about here is Bajaj Finance. What you see in my screen right here is insider trading details of Bajaj Finance. What we would observe here is Bajaj Life Insurance Company on 10th of March, when the war is going on, has acquired quite a lot of quantity in this particular company. One quick thing that you need to notice here is these are not stocks, these are debentures. So this is one reason why I tell you, when you are looking at the insider stock details, insider trading details, you need to get into the nth level of information. You need to see the entire thing and analyze properly. So these are debentures that we are not going to consider right now. But if you go back and look at what happened on 29th of December 2025, two of the promoters of this company, Siddhantanayan Bajaj and Sanjali Bajaj, they have acquired nearly 9 lakhs of shares from this company. You can see these are again at market prices. You can actually go back and look at the current price of this stock right here. You will be able to see that the price of the stock currently is lesser than the price at which these promoters have bought this company. So yeah, it is important for you to understand that just because the promoters are buying shares in a particular stock, it doesn't mean that it is at the right price. It can go up or down from there, as you can see here. General idea is that promoters wouldn't buy back the shares in their company unless they have some sort of conviction in their mind. And also they'll not buy back the shares if it is valued at a very high price. We'll again look at the valuation of this company now. What we see here is price to book ratio of Bajaj Finance for last 10 years. Quick insight here, the median has been around 8.1 and the current has been around 5. The lowest it has been is around 4.7 back in November 2024. So it's not that it is at the lowest right now, but it is really getting very, very close to the lowest point. And if the stock continues to fall, we all know that the price to book is going to fall further from this point. If you look at the chart here, you will be able to quickly understand the value of the stock based on the highs and low of the price to book ratios. So if you look at here, the stock has hit a crazy valuation of about 13. This is definitely not the point where we need to think of buying. And would you call this current ranges as a crazy valuation? Absolutely not. But since the valuations are not very crazy, does it mean that it is not going to fall further from here? No. I'm giving you both the scenarios, both the directions that you can think on, so that you can be able to make an unbiased judgment on whether you have to invest or not. So again, we will look at some more data. We'll pull up the P&L data of this particular stock here. So if we look at their quarterly P&L data, for the quarter that ended in December 2025, their net profit was 4066 crore. Now, if we compare this with their data for the previous quarter, 4948 crore, sharp decline, definitely. And if we compare YOY, that is year on year, from the previous year, December 2024, 4308 crore was the net profit, and now it is 4066. So there's a sharp decline. So first hand, when we look at this data, we will feel like, okay, the profits are reducing. This company is, that's the reason why the valuation of this company is going down, and it will further continue to drop. But if we look at further data again, if we go deeper and look at more data, now if we get into the details deeper, this is a commentary from their Q3 data. We will see that company has made a huge provision of 1406 crore. Now, why was this provision made in Q3? So if we look at the details here, the company says that they have made provisions by considering the risks in their business. They want to strengthen their balance sheet and reduce the risks. That's the reason why they are making these provisions. And they have also told that going forward in the quarters, they are going to make further more provisions in their P&L. So if you read about finance stocks, you will know that making provisions is not really a bad thing. Basically, the management is making their company more resilient and they're being more prudent to make sure that they are being able to, take the risk that is going to come in the future. Also, the recent labor code changes also impacted the company, which they are saying around 265 crore is the impact from the changes in the new labor code. If we omit these provisions and the labor code, we actually see that there is a 23% PAT growth. We see here that their profit after tax actually improved by 23%. And if we add these provisions, we see that it reduced by 6%. So this I think is the level of detailing that you need to look into when you're actually analyzing stocks or looking at the details of stocks. And naturally the profits are also tied to valuations, and any changes in this valuation and price to book ratio etc. will change the value of the stock or the price of the stock. Now, since this is a finance company, if we look at their operational data, if we look at their AUM growth basically, if we look at their entire loan products, if we look at their urban B2C loans, if we see their gold loans, etc., we see the growth rate here. So across their products, we see there has been considerable year-on-year growth. We see only one product, which is captive two-wheeler and three-wheeler finance, which has dropped by 57%. But then again, this is a very small business of theirs, which is only 3.2% of their entire business. If we see all the other products, we see that there is a considerable year-on-year growth. In fact, if we look at their biggest product, that is mortgages, which constitutes like 30.7% of their business, it has grown by about 25%. So if we look at the data operationally, there are no challenges or there's no caveats operationally for this company. Interestingly, I was reading through the con calls, details of con calls of this particular company. There's one particular thing that really interested me. I'll put a snapshot of this in the screen. You can pause the video and go through this entire snippet. Something that really interested me is, if you see here, we see that the company, the business is heavily relying on AI right now. So here you can see the data that they have given. They have listened to over 20 million calls using AI, and they have converted that calls into texts. And they could listen to nearly 5.2 lakh customers, and using the data that they get from these texts, they generated nearly 100,000 new offers from data or information which they did not have earlier. So this is one practical use case of AI which we are seeing here, right here. We see here that the company is heavily relying and investing on AI, which again creates a positive opinion about the company. They are building efficiency using AI. You can read this entire snippet by pausing this video, like I told you already. There's a lot of information here which I'm not going to read out right now, but really interesting things that the company is doing. So these were all the positive points or the assessment that we could do. Now moving on to the negative points. What could be the negative points? The first and the foremost one, the ongoing war. We really don't know where we are going to end up. All the stocks, anything that we are touching right now is going into red zones. So we are really unsure of the risks because of the war. Secondly, one of the biggest challenge or one of the biggest pressure that these banks and NBFCs are facing is because of tightening of liquidity, tightening of rising credit costs. And because of all these reasons, the inflation might go up, and these can really pressurize the banks and NBFCs. So this again is the second risk. You can look at the company, go and read their balance sheet, go and read their P&L, make your own analysis and decide on whether you have to invest or not. This was one analysis where you can understand how you have to look at company or price, their valuation, etc. during this war situation. So the next stock that we are going to talk about here is Kalyan Jewellers. You will soon understand why am I picking this stock for our analysis. So if you see the details of insider trading of Kalyan Jewellers, we see here that TS Kalyanaraman is a promoter. There is a huge buying in the month of February, that is on 11th, 13th February, and the quantities are also seen here, and the price at which he is making this buy orders are also seen here. Also, if we look at the charts of valuations here, there are huge swings in the valuation charts as well. The median PE is around 47.7. This is for a 10-year period. And the PE now, as we record this video, is around 33.3. And what's crazy here is, on Jan 3rd, the highest valuation was around 127.9. So knowing that Kalyan Jewellers has now fallen a lot, this gives us a learning that buying stocks at high PE is very, very risky. It's a complete red flag. Now coming back to the lowest PE, which is at around 18.8 on 12th of August 2022. And right now it's somewhere in the range of 33. And can it go to 19? Entirely possible. So you have to think through in this direction. What happens to the stock if it goes to a PE which it has hit in the past also? Are you ready to take this risk? If I buy this stock which is valued at 30 ranges right now, if it falls to 18, what am I going to do? Am I ready for this fall? So that is the direction in which you have to think. Now, if we go and look at the con call summary of this particular company, remember this again came out in February 2026 and this is for the quarter that ended in December. So October, November and December. So they say that the biggest demand came from the Middle East for the company. Remember that this came out in February before the war started and this is for the quarter which was way before the war actually happened. Nevertheless, important for us is to understand that they have around 38 showrooms in the Middle East. Now also again note that I did try to find where these stores are actually located in Middle East, but I couldn't get a lot of data in their annual report as well. But we are not sure, but they say that these are the number of stores in Middle East. Also, if we look at the annual report of this company, here's one interesting data that I could pull out. Here, all the data again is in millions of rupees. We see that the revenue from its Middle East branches is 32,302 million rupees. Now, this is their top line coming in from Middle East, 32,302 million rupees coming from Middle East alone. So, if we try and get this percentage of their total revenue, this again is the data of 2025, we see that around 13% of their total revenue is coming from Middle East. So now, when 13% of the revenue is already coming from Middle East, which is war bound, and we also know that there's a lot of uncertainties also. Dubai, which is a hub for gold trades basically. A lot of gold from Dubai comes to India, it goes to countries like Switzerland, etc. So we are not really sure what is going to happen. So that's one caveat or the red flag. We are seeing that promoters are buying a lot of stocks, a lot of shares in this particular company, and we also see that it is at a very valuable price right now. It was trading at a very high PE, which has reduced considerably now. So these are the kind of things that we need to look at and balance when we decide on investing. Also, if we try to look at more data, if we pull up the P&L details of this particular company, we see that net profit has increased drastically. See, in 2022 it was at 224, then it went to 432, 596 in 2024, and in 2025 it was at 714. And right now in 2026 as on date, it has crossed 1,000 crores. So is it going to be sustainable considering the war situation now? So what can we do by looking at this data? Right now, I would suggest you to add this stock to your watch list and keep a watch maybe for a week or 2 weeks time and see if there is an improvement. Improvement in the sense of if there is a reduction in uncertainty or if the war situation is improving. So at that point, you can make a reassessment and see if the PE is still reducing, if the values of data of stock is improving, and then you can decide if you want to buy or sell. So this guys was the key information that I could get from these two companies. I did not get into depth of every con calls or every data that is there, but I could really check all the major points or the key points of these companies which everyone else will be looking at, and I could give you some insights. You do make your own assessments, do your own judgment, and you guys can use the knowledge from this particular analysis to analyze other stocks as well and understand how the business is doing, whether you have to invest or not. If you guys did like this video from equity investment perspective, do share the knowledge, share the learning, share this video as well, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon in the next video.